trying to say. Alright, so I'm gonna introduce you guys real quick. Obviously, this is Morgan Woolworth. She goes to UCO. She is in the nursing program. She graduated here 2 years ago. She's one of my 4-year soccer players. She's gonna go over everything about college life, UCO, nursing. You guys can see how awesome the student is based on the presentations that she's already ready for you guys. So here you go, Morgan.
Okay. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Good. Are you guys 18?
Yo.
Did you guys register to vote?
I'm registered, but I didn't get to. I plan on today.
Nice. Nice. I just voted and I've been looking for like 18 years of my life to get the sticker and then I forgot to get the sticker. Anyways.
Like a sticker that you voted, or?
Yeah, like you know that I got a sticker. I was so looking forward to that this whole time.
I would totally get a pin.
Alright.
Alright. So, like I said, my name is Morgan Woolworth. I graduated from UCO in 2019, and I'm now attending the University of Central Oklahoma as a sophomore, and I'm pursuing my bachelor's in nursing. I chose nursing because I was actually here, and I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I took a personality test, and it suggested that nursing kind of matched my personality, so I was just like, let's do it. And UCO has a really good nursing program. I always wanted to go to OU, that was my dream school, but I wanted a smaller student-to-teacher ratio, so I went to OU. I mean, UCO. Okay, so this is just some general questions, just to kind of answer them. The best advice that I could give to someone attending college is to do your research on the professors before you take them. And this is called Rate My Professors, and I'll show you guys that in a second, just on the slide. One thing that you can absolutely count on is to that you're going to be overwhelmed if you go to college. So be prepared for that, and make sure you have ways to go for that, because sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming. If you can avoid it at all costs, so make sure you rent all your books, like online or Amazon or whatever. If you can avoid it at all costs, don't go to the bookstore on your university. They make it outrageously expensive for no reason, and so you can find it much, much cheaper if you do your research beforehand and like rent it on Amazon. My favorite class was psychology and biology. I'm a science major, so I love all of those. My least favorite was chemistry and anatomy. Chemistry is one of those where that was like the first class that I had to go to tutoring for, and it was hard to admit, and just kind of missed that. And anatomy. The hardest part for me was, do you guys know what a human cadaver is? It's like a dead body, so I had to go and study that, and that was hard for me to like look at. It was rough. The easiest class I ever took was history. He was my history professor, super, super easy. He let us like talk to each other during the exams, and like someone would go write the answers on the board, and we would just sit there and just not care. So that was my part, the easiest I've ever had. And my hardest is the chemistry and anatomy. The most influential person that helped me prepare for college is Coble. She helped me fill out so many college applications and scholarships, and wrote me numerous recommendation letters, and to this day she still writes me good recommendations. My freshman year, I was involved in absolutely nothing, but this year I joined a sorority, I joined a rowing team, and worked as a lifeguard at a swim school. So last year, I started the year off rooming with someone that I knew and I went to Chickasha with, so we were both kind of in our comfort zone, and we really didn't do much to go make friends and do new things and see people and stuff. But this year I made it an absolute priority to do so. But this year I kind of did the opposite, and I did way too much. So I had like 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, and I would wake up at 5 in the morning, go to rowing practice, go straight to class, eat, go to work. And so it was just a lot on my plate, and I just kind of had to write the pros and cons of everything going on in my life. I knew college and work wasn't something that I could take out, and so I just had to quit the rowing team. Which sucks because I loved it, but when you become an adult and go to college, sometimes you just kind of have to look at your life and what's going on and see what you can and can't handle. Oh, yeah, rate my professors. Okay, so absolutely use this when you're signing up for your classes. By the way, you sign up for classes each semester.
Have you guys heard of this? I think I mentioned it, but.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the gosh, I can never spell. Okay, I'm going to show you guys my most favorite professor I've ever had. Okay, so she has a 4.8 out of 5. This person said that they would clone her. So they loved her. And if you go down here, it has the grade, the textbook, what is it again, and it has like, characteristics of the class, difficulty level, all that stuff. So this is really, really helpful. Now I'm gonna show you guys my most professor.
Has any of you guys actually seen this website or monkeyed with it? Yeah.
I wouldn't know what the professor's names were.
Well, that's when you guys like look up the course catalogs. Yeah.
Oh, I need help.
So this is, he has a 3.6 out of 5. This person, they would take it again. It says skip class, you will pass, very test heavy. I agree with all of that. New textbook. So yeah, so this person rated him 1, so he was not going and his grade didn't drop it. So you want to kind of avoid the professors that
Just take a look at that.
okay. You want to avoid the professors that have bad grades in the right semester. That is kind of what I do that. But then again, you also have to keep in mind that there's a chair right here.
Yeah.
I just had to stand for an hour in line. I just had to stand for an hour in line to go vote. So. But anyways, you also have to keep in mind that kind of on the rate my professors, some people might be really kind of some lazy college kids that are upset with their professor because they had to drop it because they had to like actually do the work and might come back grades. So that's fine. This is a little bit about UCO. The University of Central Oklahoma is located in Edmond. It has a 75% acceptance rate, more than 17,000 students, and has a 17-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. So the student-to-teacher ratio is like for every class, there's one professor, and in that class, there's like around 17 kids per class. But that can range. I think it was my biology class. I had a bunch of kids drop, and there was only like 7 of us in there. And then my boyfriend, who's a business major, and he had like tons of students in his class. So it could just range. We actually have a museum. I'm pretty sure it's in Old Woolworth, this building right there. That is actually the oldest building of higher education in Oklahoma. But we have a museum that's super, super cool. It has a lot of stuff like Native American, World War II, World War I, stuff like that. There was actually, the thing that I found the most interesting was there's a dress, it's like a wedding dress. And when World War II was happening, a lot of men that were going to UCO were getting deployed. And so there was a couple of people that got married in that same dress. I think there was like 8 or 9 brides in that dress that got married before they had to get deployed that were students at UCO. That's pretty cool. So this is more about UCO. It has a much smaller campus compared to OU. At the most, the walking distance of the full campus is about a 12 to 15 minute walk, whereas OU's is about a 45 minute walk. There's 5 different housing options on campus, as well as the option to live off of campus even as a freshman. And for OU, I believe you have to live on campus as a freshman. UCO also has about any club you can think of as well as a Greek life. On average, before financial aid, I spent around $9,000 a semester here with the most expensive dorm, no meal plan, and 13 hours of classes. So I am living in the apartment style dorms this year as a sophomore. Last year, I lived in the second most expensive one with no kitchen, so I didn't have a meal plan last year. But meal plans are kind of expensive to explain. We were kind of talking about this in our last class, but basically, if you live in a dorm that doesn't have a kitchen, you have to have a meal plan because obviously you have to eat. And basically, there's a couple restaurants. There's like a Chick-fil-A. There's kind of like a cafeteria one that's like a buffet. There's all those options. But if you want to talk about that more, you can ask a question to me, and I can kind of explain more of that. It's more about UCO. This is another picture of Woolworth. The most important building by far is the Nye Diversity Center. It holds numerous offices like financial aid, academic advisors. There's a Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, there's restaurants, a bookstore, a ballroom, mail room. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. We actually have a haunted lake and 3 haunted buildings. In the lake, it used to be a tradition for all of the seniors to go jump in the lake before they graduate, but one drowned and died in there. So they banned that, and they're super strict on that. And someone was actually in the boat, and they were fixing the fountain in the middle of the lake. and they fell in, and they said they felt hands tugging at their feet, and someone had to like jump in and go grab them and rescue them. So they say that's haunted. Another haunted building is actually this building in the picture. That was the one that's the oldest building in higher education in Oklahoma. There's a clock tower at the top, right there, and it goes off every hour. And apparently there was a couple weeks where it went off at 3:33 every single night, and they couldn't figure out what it was, and they kept recalibrating it, and it just wouldn't fix itself. And when it was doing that, someone climbed up there to go fix it, and they fell and died. So they say that's haunted. And some people say that they hear like door slams, and the clock will sometimes act up really weird. And the last on the building is Howell Hall. It holds all of these science classes, and there was many years ago, there was someone that went to UCO, and he had no friends, no family, but his main hobby was hunting safari animals. So he would hunt like really wild animals like cheetahs and lions and monkeys and crazy stuff, and he would stuff them and mount them on the walls. So when he died, he like UCO inherited all of his crazy animals. So Howell Hall is filled with like random scary looking animals on the walls. So they say that's haunted. And I was doing a tour, like a haunted tour of UCO when I was a freshman. And during the, I don't know if this was planned or not, but during the tour, there was like 3 doors that shut. I'm not scared of them now. So that's interesting. Face masks are required at all times at UCO. If you get caught once without a mask, you're getting a warning. Twice you get kicked out of housing. 3 times you get expelled. And I said expelled because I don't know if they really fall through with this, but this is a rule online. You're only allowed without a mask if you're outside and no one around you. In my microbiology lab, I have to wear a face mask, a face shield, and gloves or get kicked out of the classroom. So there's no exceptions to this rule either. If you like, for some reason, you have like some sort of disability that would allow you not to wear a mask, they just tell you to do class online. So this is general college information, and most classes last 1 semester. I say most because there's some you can take in the summer or over winter break, stuff like that are more condensed. Most classes require a textbook and or access code for online assignments. Most have had to pay for a textbook was $232 with the access code included. So the $232 textbook was actually at the bookstore. I didn't plan to buy a chemistry textbook, like it just kind of last minute popped up on me. So I had to charge it to my account, but don't be like me, save money. I would say at least $1,000, just to be absolutely sure for your textbooks, and then obviously you won't spend that much, you don't have to more money left over if you do that. So that's a good idea. At least I paid was $80 to rent a textbook. I recommend renting or buying used online. There's a difference between associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's, and doctorate degree. Depending on what your major is and how you can use it. So an associate's degree is 2 years worth of college credits, and a bachelor's is 4. So most people, they go to university to get a bachelor's, it's 4 years. Master's is 6 years, and doctorate is 8 years. It's recommended that you take 15 hours each semester to be able to graduate in 4 years. I'm taking 13 this semester, but I took more last semester. So it's just kind of varies depending on what courses you take. So this is incoming college freshman dues. Study for every class you have. It's recommended that for each hour of class you have, you study 2 to 3 hours for that. So let's say every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you have a 2-hour chemistry class. For every 1 hour, you're gonna have to study 2 to 3. So like for one day, maybe you're studying like 6 hours. Personally, I don't do this. I don't follow this all the time. I just kind of study when I need to, but it's recommended. Be in touch with your professors. Chances are your professors and some crazy professors you've seen in movies. Going into college, I thought that's what it was. If they were crazy and they were rude and they would just give out Fs and they wouldn't be understanding, but that's not the case at all. Even my worst professors still do really nice to me. They understand you're human. They won't be crazy on you, especially as an incoming freshman. So that's another thing. They're going to know if you're a freshman, and they're definitely going to be more understanding towards you and kind of help you out a little bit more. Be prepared to feel overwhelmed. Like I said, just make sure you get appropriate help and know how to handle it if you get stressed. UCO has a counseling center. I've been there a couple times. You pay for it anyways, you might as well use it. Same with tutoring, and I have to pay for a gym membership, so I take advantage of all the resources I have to buy. Do make friends with people around you. Try to make friends with the people in your major, and especially in your classes. I know Cole talks about this, but networking is super important. So I'm always making it a point to make at least one friend in my class to get their number, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, and just kind of keep in contact with them. Especially if you, because this will happen, every once in a while, it happens to everyone. You like last minute forget about an assignment, and so it's too late to email your professor, so you just text your classmate really fast. I've done that a couple times. And then with people in your major, so I'm a nursing major, so you never know, like if 20 years down the road that I'm gonna need like a job, and someone that I made friends with in college, they're a nurse, and they can recommend me for a job. My roommate last year, her mother was actually the president of like an OU hospital in Edmond, so I got to shadow under like the head nurse of OU, so it's just all about what you know. Incoming college freshman dues. Map out your time. I recommend a calendar, or a weekly agenda. I live by my monthly agenda. Like I live by it. I will forget if I'm not. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't take too many classes or work too many hours. Know your limit and don't be afraid to drop classes or work hours if you need. So this goes back to the rowing situation. I recognize that I just had too much on my plate and I just had to do something to get something off my plate, and that is just what I had to happen. My boyfriend actually had to drop class this semester, which is hard for him, but that happens. It happens to a lot of college freshmen. I mean, anyone in college, it happens. Take advantage of your resources. Chances are you'll be paying for counseling services, gym memberships, tutoring fees at a big university. At UCO, I pay a $75 grass fee, so I avoid the sidewalk at all costs and make sure I use my grass fee. And like, I'm not even joking, when I remember it, I go scoop my feet through the grass because I'm like, I gotta use this. Have fun. College is honestly what you make it. Experience new things and have fun and meet new people. Just be safe. So don't party too hard. Like don't you can drive. Make sure you're always studying. Have a good balance. Don't party too much. Having fun is important. Just make sure you balance your fun with your schedule appropriately. Drink and don't. Oh my gosh, I was a drinker. Don't drink and drive, please. I've seen way too many students barely make it into the parking lot being sick. There's 2 people that died at UCO from someone else drinking and driving. There's actually one and almost 2 drug overdoses, so like really just be safe. Don't be drunk also. Don't be scared of your professors, ask questions because that's what they're there for. So you have to think about it like this. You are paying to be there and to be in that seat, and you're paying them to take that class. So you're the one that's paying them, so you might as well use them to the best of your advantage. Even if you have to ask like questions every single day, or if you think it's a dumb question, they won't. Don't be scared to go to tutoring and get help. College can be hard, but make sure you're getting help you need. Like I said, you're probably already paying for a tutoring service anyway, so you might as well take advantage of that since you have to pay for it. And if you have a TA, use them. A TA is a teacher's aide. They're generally like a senior or a junior that is helping with the major that they're majoring in. So if they're a chemistry major, there's going to be, they'll be in your chemistry class. So with the TAs that I've had, I always like got their number and made sure I kept in contact with them because sometimes it can be a lot easier to talk to a professor because they're a lot more understanding. Usually when I have like super dumb questions like a multiplication, I had like a multiplication question in chemistry and I was way too scared to ask my professor and I didn't have a calculator in my phone and I didn't know what to do, so I asked for a TA. Stuff like that. Don't study for college exams like you study for high school exams or tests. College exams are going to be way more comprehensive and cover way more material. I recommend studying like a week in advance and at least study for a couple of hours. I kind of didn't realize this going in, and I kind of had a rough first exam, my psychology exam. Don't do that, just be prepared. You can never study enough. Like, just be prepared going in. Don't be too shy. Be ready to meet people. My first semester of college, I was way too shy and didn't make an effort to meet new people. Now I have so many friends that I would trade it any other way. If I could go back, I would probably make myself make more friends my first semester of college. So don't be like me. Don't regret your first semester, your first year, your first 2 years. Make sure you go out and make friends and meet people. Don't expect college to be like Chickasha. Chickasha is a super small town. If you move to a bigger university, you might experience a culture shock. The first time I experienced a culture shock was in New Orleans, and people in New Orleans and in New York, California, or wherever, they're not like people from Chickasha. Here, like a lot of people are nice and they say hi, and they, if you're in line and you're like driving, they let you get in front of them, stuff like that. If you say hi to a random person in New York, they're gonna like look at you like you're crazy. Same with New Orleans. So some people are from these places, like New Orleans and California, and so they're going to act a lot differently. So you're just gonna have to be more understanding and accepting of that. Actually, my RA is from Brazil, so you never know who your friends are gonna be from in college. Okay, so that's that. I kind of blew through that. I didn't realize how fast I was going, but ask any and all questions. That's what I'm here for.
So what are you going into? Like, what are your goals to be? What is your goal?
Like my major. So I'm nursing. And how the nursing program works at UCO is you have your first 2 years are the general ed courses, and your last 2 to 3 is in the actual nursing program. So since I'm a nursing major, a lot of majors aren't like this, and you don't have to get into a program. But I'm taking my general education courses, and then this winter, actually, I will apply and take a test to see if I can get into the nursing program. My boyfriend is a business major, and that's just his major. He doesn't have to get into any sort of program or take any test. He just graduates with a business major. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Explain the meal plan a little bit more.
Okay, so the meal plan,
Because even though that's UCO's meal plan, they're pretty much identical whatever college you go to.
yeah, for sure. So there's something, at UCO we have different options. Some are more expensive, some are more cheap. They did this thing that's called Flex, and if you get Flex in your meal plan, that is money for Starbucks and Chick-fil-A and the other restaurants on campus. But if you get a meal plan with meal swipes, that is where you go to the more like the cafeteria restaurants. There's 2 that you can use meal swipes on campus, I believe. The cafeteria food, it's like decent. It's a lot better than like public cafeteria food would be, but it's definitely still cafeteria food. So you have the option, I think there's like, you can get 9 meal swipes a week, so you can go to the cafeteria 9 times a week for 9 meals. Or you can get like $400 in Flex, maybe $2 in Flex. You just have different options. So definitely look at your options and think like, am I gonna eat a lot of Starbucks and Chick-fil-A, or am I gonna eat a lot of cafeteria food? Or am I not gonna eat on campus at all? I'm gonna go out to eat every night. Like maybe you should choose a cheaper one. Not saying do that, but yeah, just think about your options.
And then if you don't use your meal swipes that day, do they carry over?
No, so if you don't, so let's say you have 9 a week. That 9 meal swipes is for that week and that week only. If you don't use them, they go away. So you're wasting money if you don't use your meal plan. So that's why I said like, if you're not gonna eat on campus or if you won't use a lot of meal swipes, like get the cheapest one, just to make sure you're not wasting your money, because it's expensive. I think like around the price of one of like $1,500, maybe more expensive. So it's not cheap.
And then you got a meal plan your freshman year because your dorm did not have a kitchen.
Yeah, so last year I lived in the university suites on campus. I'll kind of go through the dorms on campus after this, but it has about 2 beds and then your own bathroom, and it has no kitchen, so you have to get a meal plan. So I think I got 7 meal swipes a week and like $400 in Flex because I really like Starbucks. So I literally got Starbucks every single morning, and I would use meal swipes when I could. I also had a mini fridge and a microwave, which I do recommend doing. If you have the money for that, which if you have meal swipes, you should be fine. But like it was like, I woke up at 1 a.m. and was hungry, the cafeteria's even closed, so I had like pizza rolls and pita. That's why I say that. So the dorms on campus, there's 5. It's, the cheapest one is West Hall. West Hall is about it's like community bathrooms for each hall. So you have like a community boys, community girls bathroom. And you share a room with one other person. You have 1 closet with a couple drawers. And actually Murdoch, that's the second least expensive. That has a community bathroom as well. It's kind of the same thing, but I believe it's a little bit bigger. The Murdoch is actually the oldest dorm situation or housing, whatever, on campus. And we had not just scary, we had a situation of black mold on Murdoch that took care of it, but like that's how old it is. It's old. After that, we have the quad. That's probably the biggest one. It has, you share a room with one other person, you both have a closet. It's a little bit bigger than Murdoch. And for every 4 rooms, so that's like 8 people, because there's 2 people per room, you have a bathroom. So you're not sharing a bathroom with as many people, but you're still sharing After that, it's a university suites. That's the one I lived in last year. It's 2 people in a room and you share a bathroom. And then the most expensive one is the one I'm in this year. It's called the Commons. It's literally like an apartment. You have like a 4-person option or a 2-person option. There's 4 people. You guys share a living room and a kitchen, and then 1 bathroom, 2 people. And then same for the 2. But for the 2, you get your own bathroom. I don't know if I'm butchering that, but yeah. I would recommend, don't live in an apartment, or, I mean, you could, but I recommend against moving an apartment for your first year, just because if you live like in a community bathroom, I hear a lot of people say they have a lot of fun, they like make friends with people in the bathroom, just because you're around so much more people, so that just kind of forces you to get out of your comfort zone and just kind of say hi to people in the hallway in the bathroom. So I recommend doing that. I actually recommend not living in the commons at UCO your freshman year, just for that reason.
Now, even though you're choosing the most expensive dorm, you're not doing a meal plan because you have a kitchen.
Yeah,
You do your own shopping.
Yeah, I just work and I buy my food. It actually turned out to be cheaper just because I did get the most expensive dorm with the meal plan, and I got like a kind of expensive meal plan. But I had scholarships to pay for most of that, so that's why I did that last year. Last year I had like 5 or 6 scholarships, I can't remember. Gold will help you with most of those, so like really take advantage of your time in here. Fill out as many scholarships as you can. Use Global, she's here just for that reason. I wish I had a class just for scholarships, that would help me out so much. This year, I did not fill out as many scholarships as I should. I literally filled out like 2 last year, and so I have 1 scholarship. So I'm taking out a lot more money in loans than I'd like to compared to last year. So don't be like me and just stay on top of things. Make sure you get as many scholarships as you can. I actually know someone I'm friends with, and they have so many scholarships. I actually got like $400 back. So that would be like awesome. That's like everybody's goal in college, which doesn't really work out just because you don't have a lot of time. It's just like literally to live on scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be awesome. So try to do that. Because why not?
You have any other questions? Just college life, not necessarily UCO, but college life?
Yeah, anything, like not even college, like adult life.
Would you like just recommend taking just normal classes your freshman year so you can get used to like everything on campus? Or do you think that you should like branch off and try different like activities and try to get involved?
I would say get involved. Don't get involved too much. Like at least join like 1 club, like 1, I don't know, sorority, fraternity, whatever you guys are interested in. I would say at least do 1 thing. Like maybe it's like you're in a chemistry class and there's a chemistry club. Even if it's just that, there's so many things on campus, like so many things. There's so many clubs I can't even count down or name them all. And usually, so UCO, they do like a job fair and a pre-flight fair and a club fair. So that's kind of like, you get a taste of kind of everything. So you get the opportunity to see what all they have to offer. It's just up to you to really just put yourself out there and get involved. For your first year though, for the most part, you should be taking the easier classes, because those are your general education classes. For example, Comp 1 and 2, that's just like writing essays, English, stuff like that. And there's your Algebra 1, there's your biology, just depending on your major, but most general education courses are the same, so they're going to be fairly on the easy side. Not saying they're going to be not difficult, because college is not easy, but that's why it just kind of makes it a lot easier to take your general education classes first, so you can just kind of get used to not being with your mom or your dad or whoever you live with, and just being on your own. Taking those easier courses help. For one, it took me a little bit to get used to just not asking my mom to like go places. Like I wake up and want to go to like Whataburger in the middle of the night, and I just couldn't. And that's honestly one of the better parts. But it's easy to gain weight, so try to choose healthier options when you can. I told the last class that like in the cafeteria they have this like really like good looking juicy burger, and they have this like dried up little salad bar. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So maybe try to get some bread when you can. I try.
Any other questions? Who in here was looking at possibly UCO? Yeah, Rosa, you don't have any specific questions?
Have you toured like OU or LSU before, like ever?
I was supposed to, but I think like after I decided like I'm for sure going to UCO, I didn't totally.
Okay, how just you being a UCO, how much different, other than obviously the class size, would you say it is, than like OU? Do you know?
I don't know. I would say a lot different, mainly just because like Boomer Center football, that's a huge difference. We're
Yeah.
not a football school, and by no means we're not a football school. We're honestly, this is pretty cool. We're a hockey school. Our hockey team's really good. Those are super fun. So that's a major difference. I would say to some extent, I've heard the classes at UCO are slightly easier than OU, just because I've heard a lot of classes, there's like, I looked up online, it said the teacher to student ratio was like 18, but I had a friend that had like 200 students in her class. And so she had no contact with the professor at all. She could only talk to her, there was like a couple TAs, and that's all she could talk to. Stuff like that's a lot different. It's definitely going to be a lot harder to kind of find your way around campus at OU, OSU, wherever you go, just because it's going to be bigger. UCO is a big campus, but is a lot smaller compared to OU, OSU. It took me like 2 to 3 weeks to kind of figure out where everything was at UCO. It's not that hard to find your way around. I think those are the main things. Also, Greek life is really huge at OU, OSU, so you're going to see a lot of like sorority girls, fraternity guys, there's going to be major fraternity parties at OU, OSU.
I'm sorry. And also, do you know anyone like that is majoring in psychology at UCO?
My boyfriend was. I know of a few, but not super close, My boyfriend liked it when he did. When I took my just intro to psychology class, I absolutely loved it. It was super, super interesting. If you do go to UCO and end up majoring in psychology, I had a really good psychology professor that I can recommend to you. So definitely take him and just kind of ask him.
Okay.
It really is. It's really good. Is anyone not going to college?
We're all looking at, yeah.
Looking at college? What are you thinking about?
Oh, I got admitted to OSU like a couple weeks ago, so.
What are you thinking about, Jacob? Right, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Nice. What are you thinking about?
I've been thinking about OU
Nice.
and
That one about this.
Texas University, doing that. Just depends on what.
She's been fluctuating between nursing. That was one of her things.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Nursing, the nursing program, I know this is at UCO, but I believe it's just everywhere. It's intense. It's a little, lot of coursework. It's not easy, but it'll definitely be rewarding if that's really something you're looking into. If you're kind of on the post about nursing, I would definitely weigh your options, because I don't know if, you might get in there and it might be so tough. Wow, I didn't even know about doing nursing. So really weigh your options. What do you think about it?
I want to get an OU for engineering.
They have a really good engineering program. So does OSU. UCO's is not as good as OU and OSU, but I know it's good. Yeah, engineering's tough, so good luck. I'm horrible at math, so props to you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Parties, adult life, college?
What was the hardest transition from high school to college?
It's a good one. Probably just me personally being away from my mom. That was really rough for me. I was really close to my mom, and my mom was still really close. It was hard for me to not always have her there, but it's really a good way to just kind of grow up really fast, because you're moving out and you wake up one day and you're like, wow, I'm not home anymore. And you just kind of have to grow up like that. That was really fun, for sure.
Yeah, you kind of realize you have to go to Walmart by yourself and
Oh,
go
my
get your
first
food.
Walmart trip, I documented it. I took a picture and I was like, took a selfie with my boyfriend. I was like, first Walmart trip. I
Oh my
felt like
goodness.
so old. It's like getting groceries. Like I have to go buy laundry detergent. Laundry detergent is not cheap.
Yeah, well, we do budgets in here, yeah.
Just get a bunch of Tide Pods.
Yeah.
You have a question, Russell?
I'll look at that.
You know the new. How did you balance your time? Like you said, it was hard being away from your family. How often did you plan to see your family?
So, they say UCO. I forgot the term. I think it was like a luggage college is what they called it. So a lot of people at UCO, they go home on weekends. or a lot of people at UCO, they just like live in Edmonds. So when I wasn't doing anything and I didn't have any friends or anything to do on the weekend, I was coming home like almost every single weekend because I had nothing else to do and I was just didn't want to sit on the dorm. But now I try to come home when I can. I probably come home every like 2, 3, 4 weeks. It really just depends on what I'm doing. Yeah. You just kind of have to know what you can do. A lot of times I feel like I'm working on the weekends, so sometimes I can't even know I want to. You'll just have to figure out, like, you know, it's different for everyone. You have to figure it out when you get there. That's for those things.
Any other questions?
I'm trying to think, is the traffic like kind of different down in Edmond?
Ugh.
Because I'm gonna go to Stillwater and I'm scared to drive.
Traffic is horrible in it. It is horrendous. No exaggeration. Oh my goodness. I was actually, last night when I was coming to Chickasha, there is always major construction in Edmond, just like on H.E. Bailey. They have this, it's in the middle of the highway. They have a lane closed off, but they have it closed off like last second. They don't really give you much room to move over. And I was behind someone they didn't see, so I just slammed on my brakes, so it was 75 miles an hour. Traffic is always bad in Edmond. There's never a time when it's good. But I still love Edmond just because like I'm really close to caves and I love caves. And you'll definitely appreciate all the restaurant options because Chickasha doesn't have a lot. But I will say I'm like 35 minutes away from a Taco Mayo, so I always eat Taco Mayo. We have the best Taco Mayo in Oklahoma. I'm just letting you know. So tests. I'll talk a little bit about that. Exams are kind of difficult. The thing that really like took me aback, however you say it, is like I had to buy my own scantrons. I was like, well, I'm paying for the class and now I gotta buy a scantron just to take a test I don't even want to take. But luckily they have some options to get some free ones on campus, so I just kind of managed that. But they always say, and Cole said you guys talked a lot about this, like all of it, but I'll just kind of say it again because it's important. First of all, you always want to be in the same state that you study and take your testing. One of my professors said if you're drunk studying, you better show up drunk to class and take your test because you always want to be in the same state. Don't do that, but that's what she means. If you're hyped up on caffeine from coffee, studying, then really do that, take your test. Also, try to listen to the classical music when you study. I don't know why, but they said that like have better chances when you're studying to do better if you listen to classical music. Don't study in your bed. I personally can't even study anywhere in my apartment. I always have to go to the library to study. That's my favorite place to study. I just love the environment. Everybody's studying, and it's like, oh, I gotta study now too. That's a little bit about testing. Finals. That's a good one. I didn't touch on finals last time. Finals are hard, and midterms are too. So you kind of they send out a schedule at the end of the semester, and it's like if you were in a Monday 2 o'clock class, then you have to take your final this time. That's kind of how it is. Some teachers, they give comprehensive finals, which is finals over the whole entire semester, everything you learned in that entire semester. Those are lots of difficult. If you're in a comp class, your finals are just essays. Some don't even get finals. Some, if you have below an 85 or something, you have to take a final. Depends on your professors, but if you have a comprehensive one, buckle down and study for like 2 weeks in advance. I've never been to a college party. I have all A's. I'm not saying to do that, but just to kind of compare the two, I had a friend that went to a party every single weekend. Every time there was a party, she was there. She flunked out of her like entire freshman semester. So even if you do want to party or don't, just kind of try to meet in the middle. Find a good happy medium. Be super, super safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anything else? Last minute advice before they graduate high school and embark in college?
Okay, so I gave the last class a challenge. I'm excited about this one. So when I graduated, there was a lot of students that walked across the stage, and I was like, I have never met them in my entire life. I've never even seen them. And I'm like, how is that? There's not a lot of students that went to Chickasha. We only had like 100-something students in that. And after I graduated, kind of that summer, I was hanging out with some people that I never even spoke to in high school, and I was like, wow, these people are so cool. Like, why did I not even talk to them in high school? Like, I didn't even give them the chance to be my friend. And so I know Chickasha, like in Chickasha, I had a lot of cliques and groups that I always stayed with. So I just kind of want to encourage you guys to move out of your clique or your group and Go talk to at least like one person. Go make a friend with one person that you usually wouldn't talk to, because you'd be surprised on how cool people really are. And even like if someone is different from you and they don't play sports or they don't take large classes or whatever, they're not in band, whatever the case may be, there's still a lot of similarities that you might have outside of just high school things. And I kind of learned that in college. So that's my challenge for you guys. At least before you graduate, just make one friend that you usually wouldn't be friends with. And enjoy it. It's gonna go by fast. I know this COVID thing sucks. And I'm really sorry you guys had to go through COVID with your senior year. But you guys are doing great. Give yourself credit. It's a pandemic, which is insane, but just give yourself credit. Senior can be stressful. Be nice to everyone around you. Everyone is going through a tough time. There's been a lot of mental health problems, OU, OSU, UCO, a lot of deaths. It's been rough, so really just be nice to everyone you can, especially when you get into college. And if you need anything, ask Gold for help. If you're feeling down, you just need someone to talk to. There's been a handful of times, more than a handful of times, when I went to Gold's office and I was like, listen, this is going on and I need some help. So I know without a shadow of a doubt, it should have done it for you too. That's all I have.
And then you cry.
I swear I didn't pay her. I swear I didn't pay her. All right, will you guys thank Morgan for coming? You have one more question? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the whole thing with the mental health stuff, do you think, like, I actually wonder if you can talk to one of the psychology majors and if they can practice like working with people, if they wanna be like a therapist.
Oh, on that, I do know a psychology major. She's my roommate. She gives me a lot of good advice. My psychology major, roommate, whatever. But there's not really like a program where like psychology majors, at least at UCO, can just like talk to you guys. But I know for a fact I love the counseling center at UCO. They did some really good stuff for me. I went to like a couple sessions. She wanted me to meditate. I went to a group therapy session. I went to some yoga, calming, relaxing classes for anxiety. All that helped. There's definitely like, oh, also, this is so cute. On Thursdays, they have therapy dogs come in the night. And they're like dogs this tall, and they just lay down and they just let you pet them. It's precious.
And that's all included in your fees, right?
Yes, all of it is included. Did I get through your question? I honestly forgot.
Yeah, I was just curious about it, cause like, I thought it'd be kind of cool if you met someone who was a psychology major and just sat down with them and did little therapy
Yeah,
sessions
absolutely.
or whatever.
Honestly, when I went to counseling, so my father, he has TBI and PTSD, which is traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I was talking to my counselor, she recommended me talk to a professor that he kind of did his research studies in both of those with veterans. And so I got to kind of meet a person that like specialized in what my father like had on with him. So definitely there's going to be some connections if you need that at whatever counseling center you go to. So it'll definitely help you as far as that goes. Yeah.
Great
Sounds
question.
pretty cool.
No other questions? All right, well, you then go ahead and thank Morgan for coming to talk to you.
Thanks, guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of your senior year. Wear your mask.